After much speculation, the Pelicans make a move as they trade Jose Alvarado to the New York Knicks. We got the instant reaction and also what we got back in the deal, and was it worth it, and will it improve this roster over time? Let's talk about it inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, y'all? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, back once again inside Pelicans Digest on the trade deadline. Just hours before it was up, after we pretty much thought that this team wasn't going to do nothing, they went ahead and pulled the trigger, and man. It was something that a lot of us didn't want to happen, but I kind of figured it may happen, and that's the Pelicans trading Jose Alvarado to the New York Knicks. This was something that, something we've been talking about for weeks now. We've kind of figured that if there was a move to be made by this team, this would be the move. And we're going to get into more of it in a matter of seconds. But, of course, thank you so much for tapping in with us here on Pelicans Digest as we, just trying to get some live. This is just my live reaction as the news came in 10 minutes ago. Jose Alvarado to the Knicks. And in return, let's go ahead and get the official story for this just then. The Pelicans are trading Jose Alvarado to the New York Knicks. Sources tell ESPN. It's a homecoming for the Pelicans guard. And what you got back in return? They're trading Jose Alvarado to the Knicks for Dalen Terry and 2 second-round picks in cash, according to Shams. A Brooklyn native, Alvarado will join a New York squad that sits in second place in the Eastern Conference. And as a fan base, we said this. We agreed to this, that if Jose was going to get traded, trade that man to a winner as an appreciation, trade that man somewhere where, he have a chance to succeed and he gets to make his dreams come true. As a thank you from us for all the years that he's tried to, pull this team up and give us energy in that arena. It's going to be different in that Smoothie King Center, man. I think it's going to be, the vibes is going to be off now without him, if we're going to be real here. And that's no disrespect to Dalen Terry. I don't know what the deal is with that cat. Don't know what the deal is with that cat. I think he was with the Bulls and they traded him to the Knicks, and now the Knicks are just dumping him off on us. And I think this is his line right here with his numbers. He's played 34 games so far, 11 minutes a game. Plays the forward position, of course, which is weird. We traded for a forward, but hey, I think the main thing is some draft picks. I think we gonna keep it 100. I think the main thing is some draft picks. 2 second-round draft picks for a player that you didn't draft in Jose Alvarado. You didn't draft, so to get 2 draft picks out of the Knicks is a pretty decent return. You could have hoped for it was a first, but hey, if Troy Weaver, I said this in a video yesterday, that Troy Weaver's whole acumen in basketball is supposedly he has a good eye for talent. I mean, you hit on Fears, you hit on Queen. You okay with Peavy so far. If his eye for talent is what he says it is, then you could probably do well with these 2 draft picks. If his eye for talent is what you say it is. But now there's concern there. Yes, there's still concern there. Don't get it twisted. Don't think I'm going back on what I said yesterday about this being his team, his situation, and him trying to repair a lot of the things that David Griffin did, but at the same time, he has complete control of the franchise. So everything, if you're going to point to how this roster is constructed as of right now, goes with him. But again, from what I've read, they say his whole real talent is being able to pick guys. And to his credit to the time in Detroit, a lot of the guys that are in Detroit right now that's winning were guys that he picked. So if this is the preparing for the rebuild, okay, let's go for it. Let's get started. And like I said, you hate to see Alvarado to leave, but I've been saying this for weeks now, that the possibility was going to be there and it was going to be strong. Because he's probably the best option and the best chip that you had on this team due to his contract coming up towards an end. And like I said, I knew the Pelicans probably wasn't going to pay him. They wasn't going to pay him. I felt that weeks ago. I just had this vibe. I just say they're not going to pay him at the end of this year. They're going to do something. They're going to do something with him, but they're not going to pay him. They're going to let him be. He's probably going to walk for nothing, if anything, if they don't trade him. So they traded him. And, it's what we got to deal with, man, because, we have to get this roster in the direction of a rebuild. You have to get this roster in the direction of a rebuild at this point. So, yeah, I'm sad, man. I'm sad. I'll be honest with you. I loved Jose, too. I mean, don't get it twisted. I love the energy that he brought. I love everything that he was, but at the same time, there were a couple of games where, a most recent game before this Bucks game where, he played for 30 minutes and only gave us 3 points on a bad night because now we had to rely on Jose. You had to rely on Jose because of, the situation that you have as far as a point guard. You had to start. You're starting Herb because you want to play a more defensive basketball. You want to play more defensive basketball at point guard. So you put Herb at the 1. You had to move Fears to the back because Fears has been acting like he's a shooting guard. So now you just go ahead and pair him with Jose on the second line. But as of recent, in the last few games, you had to rely on Jose more because he's the only true point guard that you had at the moment. Now you ain't got none. Now we ain't got no point guards. None. Now we ain't got none. So, if anything, this is finally this team saying or acknowledging that it had to do, it had to make a move for the sake of trying to continue towards a rebuild instead of doubling down and selling us on this roster being a playoff roster. That leaves Jordan Poole now, man. I mean, can we get a buy on Jordan Poole, please? Somebody, anybody, please, can we get a buy? Anybody. Pennies on the dollar. Get off this $30 million contract because you're not moving Murray. You're not moving Murray. But there's still time. There's still time. We still got a couple hours left, but, you're not moving Murray. What you gonna do about Poole is the question. But the two second round draft picks for Jose Alvarado, you heard rumblings that you could have got it first. To get 2 second round draft picks is, and whoever the Dale and Terry guy is a decent haul. It's a decent haul. It's decent. Not earth shattering, but decent. It would all come down to how does this guy hit on the draft? Or holding on to those assets and using those assets to trade, possibly to move one of these other guys. Maybe you can use one of those draft picks to move a Jordan Poole or Jordan Hawkins or something like that. Maybe that's something they could be working on at this moment. But want to know your thoughts, man. Now we ain't got no point guards. So, the season's a wash anyway. You lost number 40 last night. Despite one of the best offensive performances this team has put up this season. Against a team that didn't have Giannis Antetokounmpo. You put up 40. You had Trey Murphy put up 44 points and a loss. I say that at the start of overtime, I say Trey's going to get 50 and a loss. And he never even scored in that overtime. Season high in threes, 24. Also ties season low in turnovers for a game. And still lost. I mean, so yeah, man. I think the tank is in full effect now, y'all. I think the tank is in full effect. And if that's the case, then let's do it. Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. You ain't got the draft big. Now you're back in the draft. Finally, you're back in the draft with the second rounders. I don't know. They haven't specified what year, or is this this year or next year? Both of these picks in this year's draft. I'm still trying to see what the specification is on that. And some cash. And you got some money. Man, you always like some money. You like some money? But it's just gonna be interesting to see what happens down the stretch as the clock starts to tick down on the end of this trade deadline. But yeah, man, just sad that Jose had to go, but at the same time, I understand. Well, I understand why. And I'm also glad that this team at least did right by him, sending him home where they winning right now. You know, and that's a good appreciation and a thank you to Jose Alvarado for all the years of service and for lighting up the Smoothie King Center every time he did. Was at least let that man go light up the Madison Square Garden, go light up the arena, and get that love from home. It's gonna feel great for him to be home, man, and I'm happy for him, man. And are you happy about the haul that we got back? What are your thoughts? Clap back with your thoughts in the comments, man. We'd love to know your thoughts on Jose Alvarado, no longer a Pelican, a former Pelican now. Pelican legend, Jose Alvarado, headed to the New York Knicks. And you got back 2 second-round draft picks. You got back a player by the name of Dalen Terry. Love to know your thoughts on that, man. Clap back in the comments. And, of course, we'll jump back in as soon as any more news breaks right here on Pelicans Digest on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button.